Welcome, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good Tuesday this week. So I am here with Crypto Noah. As you can tell, we have nice weather. I was telling Noah we have about 12 days of nice weather in Lincoln, Nebraska. So I've kind of just been lounging around outside, but it was getting a little too windy, so I came inside. But I'm not doing my regular YouTube setup. I'm doing my laptop. But we're going to talk about what Crypto Noah. So he's a different guy. He has different ways that he's found to make passive income. We're going to talk about what his plans are for the bull market. Again, everybody's wanting to make money here through this bull market. So we're going to just talk through that and see if Crypto Noah has some ideas, some things that we haven't looked at as a community that might be good for us. So if you're in the audience, thanks for coming. Good to see you guys. Please hit like. It's the currency of YouTubers. We appreciate it. Also, Maria, welcome to my community. Appreciate you being here. If you're watching on Twitter, you can come over on YouTube if you want to comment and stuff. I can't see the Twitter comments as well, but welcome if you're watching on there as well. So without further ado, you've heard enough from me. You hear from me all the time, but let's introduce our guest here today, Crypto Noah. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I want to hear a little bit about your story. How'd you find your way into crypto and what you're doing now?
What's up, James? First off, I just want to thank you for having me here. Hello to all of the audience. I love the content you put on your YouTube. I know you're providing your audience with a lot of value, and I hope I can do that same thing here in this stream. So having that said, I've been an entrepreneur since about 2015. Before that, I was actually trying to be a professional basketball player. So I played college basketball, but I kind of just realized that it wasn't my calling. You know, I wasn't good enough. So my first stint in entrepreneurship was actually, before that, I had a lot of sales jobs. So selling knives door to door, selling vacuums, phone sales, telemarketing, credit card processing. Like I sold everything that's legal, put it that way. So then in 2015, I got into network marketing, MLM, met some really good entrepreneurial friends who've become my best friends. And then I started my first company, which was an online premium chocolate delivery service company. We moved to Arizona to get a big house. I started driving Uber. I met a guy who was in credit card processing. So I did that for 3 years. And then through that, I met this guy named Rodney in 2017. And this is when I got into crypto. So he was like a really eccentric guy, like just picture like a Kawhi Leonard kind of personality. He might have been a robot. I mean, I remember his phone ringtone was like this beep, beep, boop, bop, like this tech sound. And he had like a GarageBand hedge fund back then. And we would drive down to Sedona and he would fill up rooms of like 50 people and give a presentation. They all be lining up to give him money after. And we're like, man, this is pretty cool. And he's like, yeah, I can kind of show you guys, you know, I'm getting bogged down. So we were doing it at our peak back then. We were managing like 20K, but then he texted us one day and was just like, hey, my creator says I have to do this alone. And I haven't heard from him since. I don't even know if he's still alive, but he planted the seed in me with crypto. I quickly became passionate about the implications it can have on just strengthening our individual sovereignty, our individual rights, banking, unbanked, you know, all the narratives that were going along back then. So I dedicated myself to the space. I read every book I could find. I got a few blockchain certifications. I've joined exclusive groups. And then I got out of credit card processing. I traded Forex for a year while also investing in crypto. And my crypto investments did way better than Forex. I think that year I increased my Forex account like 73%, but I turned me and my girlfriend's 5K into like 50K. And she's just like, man, you should like start a hedge fund and start a YouTube channel. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to lose people's money. So I had a really good mentor, or still have a really good mentor. Actually the guy who created cookies that we use on our computer. And I was telling him what I was doing. And he's like, Vince, I was like, you know, I'm thinking of starting a hedge fund, but I don't want to lose people's money, da, da, da. And I never forget, he's just like, Vince, if you have this skill that God gave you and you decide not to give it to the world's going to miss out on great value because of it. And it's actually really selfish of you. Like there's so many great products and services that people aren't experiencing because they're afraid to give their gift. And he's like, you don't want to be that guy. So I was like, oh man. So I started my crypto hedge fund in 2019, bought on our first investor in 2020. Now we're up to 24 investors managing 7 figures. And then I started my hedge fund to create wealth for my loved ones. So I got my parents' money, some of my best friends, family. Then I started this company, Knowit Owlz, so that I could provide value to the masses. And just so you know, James, my real name is actually Vince. The name Crypto Noah is actually a biblical reference. So, you know, Noah built an ark to save people from a water flood. I like to think we're building the ark to not just save people from financial catastrophe, but more so sail into the new world of technology and finance, as we're in the midst of the largest transfer of wealth in human history. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I have my YouTube channel, Crypto Noah, where we put out a lot of like DeFi and crypto content, strategy specific vlogs as well, so that people like know who I am, and I show my journey of me like starting the company. And then we have our Knowit Owlz YouTube channel, which does book reviews. We cover more macro, deep altcoin research, you know, Federal Reserve, and you know, stuff like that. So here I am.
Okay, amazing. Actually, it's the first time that it connected Knowit Owlz. That it, when you just said it, that's the first time it connected that it's a play on Know-it-alls.
Yep.
I've read it 1,000 times, but that was the first time it made that connection. So when you said it out loud, so that's amazing.
Nice.
I'm going to leave a link in to your YouTube channel. Go follow Crypto Noah on YouTube. Again, I just want to help him grow and see what he has to offer to our community to help us grow as well. There's an acronym TEAM. Together, everyone achieves more. So I believe in that. Work with Mike says, awesome. You have Crypto Noah in the house. He has some gold nuggets on yield farming. So let's talk about that actually. Because I want to do some educational stuff. We'll talk about Knowit Owlz here in a little bit. But tell us, what have you found that has been your most consistent passive income streams, your most consistent way to make money? What have you kind of found out there?
Well, so you talk about yield farming within your audience, so they're pretty familiar, I assume. Yeah. Okay. So a lot of people think yield farming is something new, but it goes back to the 19th century. It's just market making, and I think that yield farming done correctly, unless you can make an algo, which 99.9% of people can't, it's the best way to generate passive income in the history of the world. And the reason why is because the mainstream banks and financial institutions aren't legally allowed to provide liquidity within DeFi. So you can set, you know, there's this thing called concentrated liquidity where you can pick a range. Like, let's say you're on ETH and USDC and you think ETH is going to trade between, you know, 2,000 and 3K. That's a pretty wide range. And since those mainstream banks and financial institutions aren't in, you can make extremely high yields, like triple digit yields, sometimes quadruple digit yields, with a wide range at fairly low risk. And, you know, I know you're a Christian, if I remember correctly. So I was studying the Bible one day, and I actually found out that yield farming actually has biblical significance. And just to like explain that, in Genesis, Abraham was the first person in the Bible that God said was rich. And he didn't just say he was rich. He said he was very rich. And he told us what he was rich in. This was his investment portfolio. He was rich in silver, he was rich in gold, and he was rich in livestock. So if we translate that to a modern day investment portfolio, silver is like our cash. Gold is like our assets. People use it to speculate on large purchases back then. Silver was used as an everyday currency or medium of exchange. And then livestock is your cash flow, right? And livestock translates to yield farming. All three of these things have their own time to shine within a portfolio. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the market can only be doing three things at one time. It can either be trending upwards, downwards, or sideways. So cash shines when prices are low. So you can use the cash to buy the dip. Your assets shine when prices are high. You can sell it for more cash. But your cash flow is always shining because you're always able to accumulate more cash to deploy or more assets to sell. So with yield farming, I am always yield farming with around 25% of my entire portfolio, because you never know when things are going to moon and you never know when things are going to dip, but it's much easier to select a range. It gives you a higher margin for error. So that way you can accumulate blue chip assets or risky assets if you want. So that way, when the bull market does come into play, you'll have more to sell.
Okay, love that. Yeah, no, that's great. What can you talk a little bit about what your yield farming strategy is? Do you do mostly blue chips? Do you put a portion in, Ethereum, USDC, or what kind of yield farming do you do? Do you rotate around a lot to see, what's getting best rates, or kind of how do you handle your yield farming?
Okay, so it's a couple ways. So basically, always blue chips, and blue chips can mean a different thing for different people. Me and my community, we've mainly been focused on real world assets. Crypto's kind of becoming this place where it's so many industries. Like back then, people used to say, "Oh yeah, I'm investing into internet companies." Well, now that's every company, right? And crypto's slowly kind of becoming that. So I think it's good to kind of focus on a niche. If you want, I can show you some of my pools. I can share my screen and kind of show.
That would be amazing. We love, visual presentations. So that would be great.
I'm gonna hit this present button here. Share screen. Entire screen. Okay. Okay, perfect. So now there are different yield farming strategies for bull markets, for bear markets, and for sideways markets. So since we're going into a bull market, I always tell people the best pairs to provide liquidity in are volatile pairs. So two altcoins pair it together versus, maybe ETH and USDC. I use altcoin stablecoin pairs if I want to take profit, so I can set my range high and use something like Aperture that says, hey, once it hits this price point, take me out of the pool with my principal plus fees. But this has been my best performing pool. So this is Maple and ETH. And, a lot of people, they preach how you should back test and say, hey, had I been in this pool for this many days, I could have made this amount. But a thing with yield farming that we like to teach is actually getting ahead of the yield. And it's kind of like selling shovels during a gold rush. So, James, you've been in crypto for a while, and you know that once we get into extremely high volatile times, whether it be bull or bear, the mainstream exchanges go down. So you either can't buy at prices that you want to, or you can't sell at prices that you want to. So what happens is people come to decentralized exchanges because it takes 5 minutes to set up a MetaMask versus having to wait on a Coinbase or a Kraken or a Gemini. So if you're providing that liquidity and they're coming buying from you, you're the only shop in town, you're able to make extremely high fees. So this is Maple and ETH. And we made a deep fundamental analysis video on Maple on the Knowit Owlz YouTube channel, and actually showed my take profit strategy for Maple on my personal channel. And I show how I'm expecting to turn 15K into over $1 million. But anyway, so this is Maple and ETH, right? So anytime the price is between these two blue lines, I'm making passive income. And anytime the price is between these two green lines, I'm making passive income. And the reason why I have it this way is because I'm kind of like setting a trap. So I think that Maple is going to outperform ETH as we go into the bull market. So as it starts to go up, it's going to go into my green range, and it's going to go out of my blue lane, my blue range. And then I would set a trap on top of it as it continues to go up. If we look at this is a website called revert.finance, and you can connect your MetaMask, and it kind of shows you the metrics for all of your liquidity pools. So if you look down here, you can see I've been in this position for 75.5 days, give or take. And I pretty much, when I got into it initially, my principal was 12K. At the end of the month, when it went out of range around right here, I got in around right here, went out of range once, and it got up to 17K. So I was able to take some profits. And because of that, I was able to ROI on this pool in just a little bit more than a month. So now I'm to the point where I'm playing with house money. So you can see that I'm getting 259% APR. I have an uncollected fee amount of around $2,300. And you can see my collected fee since I've been in this for 75 days was around $6,000. And this is just at current prices. When I withdrew, it was much higher. So it was more like 6,500. So basically what I do, James, is I find stop sharing that. I find the assets that I'm bullish on, and then I go onto CoinGecko and see where most of the trading is happening on what decentralized exchange. I see if it's a good volume to TVL ratio. And what that means is if you have a pool where the TVL is 500 million and the volume, the daily volume is only 100 million, you'll make way more money in a pool where the TVL is only 100 million, but the volume is maybe 300 million. So we like to find pools with high volume to TVL ratios. And a lot of people, they'll be like, okay, I'm bullish on this, I'm bullish on these 10 altcoins. So I'll set up a liquidity pool for all 10 of them. And it's a headache to manage. I narrow it down to the top 3 pools that are paying the most. I never compound my rewards, and I made videos explaining why, because eventually it's going to go out of range. You'll never get to experience that price appreciation. So what I do is, and what we teach is, instead of compounding your rewards to increase your yield, you take your rewards and you claim them, and then you use those rewards to buy assets that you're bullish on. We always say have a plan to get out before you get in. So as the assets are continuing to rise and it's hitting your take profits, now you have more assets to sell. And then once you go to rebalance your portfolio, which I do on a monthly basis, that 25% of my portfolio that I use for yield farming, is the principal on that is continuing to rise as I'm able to accumulate more assets and sell at higher prices.
Okay, amazing. Can you talk about how you rebalance your portfolio? I think that would be interesting for people.
Absolutely, absolutely. So here, I'll actually share my screen again.
By the way, I love this audience because this is very educational. So again, I don't recommend that you put money into things that you don't understand. That's how we get burned a lot of times.
I agree.
We hear somebody talk about something and we think, oh, wow, they're making money with it. They're doing great. I'll just go ahead and copy what they do, when we don't understand what's actually going on. And so I encourage you, if you want to get into yield farming is actually DeFi. Okay. Most of the stuff that we do that we call DeFi is not actually DeFi. It's actually just get rich quick schemes. But yield farming is actually DeFi. It's us providing in a decentralized way the liquidity for making the blockchain run. And so this is actually DeFi. And so I'm really excited just about the educational piece of this. So let me go ahead and bring up Crypto Noah's screen here. Got to get all the right wallets connected.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Here, I'll hide it until you're ready.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know why it's not connecting.
Definitely going to check out your channel. First time meeting Vince, but I must compliment you on how succinct you are at explaining things. Yeah, totally agree. Immediately, me and Vince, I don't know, we first connected a few weeks ago, but immediately I was like, I think bringing him on to talk to the audience is going to be a good thing.
Oh, I think this is why it's not working. Let me switch to ETH mainnet.
Yeah, and see, guys, DeFi is not easy, even if you've done it a lot. Like, they're still challenging.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So I don't know why this isn't working. So we'll just do it this way. So is my screen showing here?
Yes.
Okay. So the question was, how do I go about rebalancing? So as I said, I always like to use 20 to 25% of my portfolio to yield farm with, and I never compound my rewards. So once the market dips down, I like to claim my rewards and use it to buy certain assets. So basically, like for example, I got into this pool when we were around right here. When we got down to right here, I always explain to people, when you are providing concentrated liquidity, you can think of it as a limit order for the underperforming asset. So this is a Maple ETH pool. This is a Maple ETH chart. So since Maple is first on the chart, if this chart is going up, that means Maple is outperforming ETH. And if the chart's going down, that means ETH is outperforming Maple. So if this is going down, that means, like I said, ETH is outperforming Maple. So the underperforming asset will be Maple. So once this goes all the way to the bottom of this range, that means I'm in 100% Maple, right? And when it goes all the way up, that means I'm in 100% ETH. So what I did once we got to the bottom of this range, like all 3 of these times, I actually claimed my rewards and I used my Ethereum to buy more Maple. And I did that here and I did that here. And then when it went up, I was able to take some profits. And how I actually go about rebalancing. So when you rebalance, you can go on Uniswap, you can claim your rewards, and you pay gas fees when you claim your rewards. If you're doing this on ETH, which this is where most of the liquidity is, the gas fees are higher. So you have to claim your rewards. You have to do the math to say, okay, if you're entering into a pool and the price is right in the middle of your range, you know you're going in 50-50. But if it's down or up, you have to do all of these calculations, and it can actually be a headache. Aperture Finance, and I made a video on Aperture Finance on my channel, so I show how I actually do it. For some reason, today it doesn't want to work. You can actually go on Aperture Finance and say, hey, if it goes out of range, you rebalance me to X range. Or if it hits the top of my range or it hits a certain price point, take me out of the pool altogether with my principal and my fees. So more importantly, Aperture allows you to do your rebalancing in one transaction. So instead of having to claim the rewards, do the math, claim the rewards, pay a gas fee, do the math, and then enter into another liquidity position and then pay another gas fee, Aperture allows you to set the range that you want to rebalance in. It does all the math for you, and it exits your position, and it deploys a new position all in one transaction. So you're actually able to save on gas fees. So that's how I rebalance. What causes me to rebalance, and we teach this in our course, is I look at pretty simple support and resistance levels. So as you can see, I haven't had to rebalance this one. What I would want to see is that will make me rebalance. I want to see a break. I want to see a retest. Back when I used to trade Forex, one of my rules was no retest, no entry, because the market likes to retest before it, enters a new ceiling or it goes down to a new floor. So I want to see it break. I want to see it retest, and not just retest. I want to see a green candle close. On the weekly, great. On the monthly, even more confirmation. And I'm looking at volume down here, and that's going to tell me like, hey, we're probably going to new levels. So at that point, this is my ceiling here. This is my floor. I would replace my ceiling with my floor. This would be my new floor, and my ceiling will be higher. And then I would just stay inside of that range, and I won't have to rebalance until the same thing happens to the upside or to the downside.
Okay, amazing. No, that's great. Scott wanted to know, what's the minimum you would put into a pairing on Ethereum, considering the fees are so high?
Great question, Scott. Thanks for asking. It depends on your time preference. If you are a person who, what's the minimum you would put into pairing ETH considering fees are so high? If you're entering into a pretty high or wide range, you don't need as much money because you have a higher likelihood of staying within range, which means your fees would end up outperforming your gas fees, and then you'll be in the green faster. But if you're in a really, really tight range and you don't have a lot of capital, I probably wouldn't go under $5,000. To add on top of that, Scott, I teach people how to set up tranches. So like, for example, let's say you're in the ETH USDC pair or pool, and the price of ETH is at $3,000. I would maybe set a wide range from maybe $2,000 to $4,000, and you put the most money in that one because it's the lowest risk. I would set a more narrow range, maybe from 2,500 to or 2,200 to maybe 2,800. Or I said ETH is at 3K, so maybe 2,500 to 3,500. And then if you want a really, really tight range, maybe 10% above and below current price, put the least amount of money in that one. So that what you'll find is that all of the pools, your yield will be the same. The APY will be higher in the tighter range, but the rewards that you're getting will be the same, because the tighter your range, it does increase your risk, but it increases your passive income as well. So if it goes out of your tight range, at least you're still within range with your medium range. And if it goes out of your medium range, at least you're still in range with your wide range. And you can use those fees to offset the losses that you're making in your tight range.
Okay. Nope. Makes a lot of sense. All right. I do want to talk about Knowit Owlz. Knowit Owlz. That's a good name. That's Knowit Owlz. One last question about the yield farming. if somebody is completely brand new, so they know some about crypto, they have MetaMask, they're familiar with that. What's kind of the best way to get started into yield farming? Do you just pick kind of a good blue chip pair, or what's a good way to just kind of dip your toes in and get started?
Well, assuming you don't like go with the course and you're doing it completely on your own, I would say start with a few bucks. That's the cool thing about DeFi is permissionless. You can yield farm with $5, $10, $20, and just do it until you get comfortable. And then as you get comfortable, you just kind of scale up. The first thing you want to do is you want to figure out, okay, what asset am I bullish on that I want to accumulate, right? And then you go on CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap. You see where most of the trading is happening. You can go on Uniswap and you can look at the volume and the TVL, and you want to find a pool that has a good volume to TVL ratio. As if you're just starting out, it's probably a good idea to set a pretty wide range just so you can see it and get comfortable. Go on revert.finance. It's free. You can track your pool performance and everything. If you want a little bit of a better tracking tool, there's another one called apy.vision that costs. And that gives you like the block by block or the daily average yield that you're getting. So, and then, just watch YouTube channels like mine's and James to, kind of learn what we're doing and, ask questions and you just got to get your feet wet at the end of the day.
Okay, very good. All right, let's talk about Knowit Owlz. Knowit Owlz. I don't know why I can't say that. I have to kind of practice before our next video. So can you kind of tell us what you're looking to do with Knowit Owlz and what it is all about? Give us an elevator pitch of Knowit Owlz.
Indubitably, my good sir. Thank you for asking. So, going back, I've always been passionate about building brands. My favorite brands are Apple and Nike. And, when you're building a brand, I feel like that's what separates you from other companies or projects that have the same or similar products. When you're building a brand, you're not just selling a product, you're selling a spirit or a way of being. And if you look at Apple, like the best brands, they never talk about their products in their marketing. Apple, they sell the spirit of creativity. They honor the creatives. They never talk about like, oh, this Mac has this many gigabytes and this much RAM. It shows a person using their products to create an experience that people like. And the same thing with Nike. They don't talk about, oh, Nike compared to Reeboks, this air bubble gets you this and this. Like they show athletes overcoming adversity. They sell the spirit of excellence. So what we're trying to do with Knowit Owlz is way bigger than yield farming. The brand that we're selling is the spirit of excellence, and the people that we're targeting are, I wouldn't even just say entrepreneurs, but people in the world who get paid from their performance. So that's salesmen, people who are just out there hustling, giving their gifts, like kind of like how I told you guys in the story. So eventually, we're trying to be that first company in crypto that builds a brand that actually makes people feel something and get inspired to do the best that they can with their gifts. That's like our overarching theme. And if you kind of just narrow that down a bit, eventually we're going to launch our Knowit Owlz NFTs. We already have them done. We were going to launch them a few months ago, but the NFT market just kind of tanked. We're going to launch Knowit Owlz. We're going to launch She Knowit Owlz, and we're going to launch Knowit Owlets. She Knowit Owlz is going to focus more on women in DeFi. And Knowit Owlets, we're going to create content for children. So we're making things for men, women, and children. And if you look at Bored Apes, that's like the best brand in crypto right now. Bored Apes, Pudgy Penguins. And you see like Bored Apes, their brand represents like people having a good time, people going to parties and things like that. But what we want to do is, instead of, obviously we'll throw parties and have events, but we want to send people to like meditation and spiritual retreats, and actually have them doing things that help them have a better life. So we're going to come out like with workout programs, biohacking, like just all that kind of stuff. So just to answer the question, we're trying to build a brand that inspires people to give their gift and, be their best self, no matter what that is. And our initial product right now is a yield farming course, because it's hard to give your gift if you don't have a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. So can you kind of talk about what people should expect? So, because I noticed the first thing you do is You fill out an assessment. So can you kind of talk about why you need to do an assessment, and then what should people kind of expect once they get in? What is the back end going to kind of look like for them?
Absolutely. So, like a doctor, I always like to say, I like to diagnose before I prescribe. This is our diagnostic process. So we kind of want to get a feel for you and, where you're at so that we can see where we can meet you. So you fill that out and then you hop on a call with me or one of our other coaches. We're going to ask you some questions. We're always, when I first hop on, I ask people where they're calling from. And I ask, like, is there any questions that I can answer with crypto or DeFi that I can help demystify so that you get off this call with a little bit more knowledge, whether you purchase or not. So what you get is, we have our Knowit Owlz Academy, right? And we have video courses, probably around 5 hours worth of course material right now, and we're always adding to it. You go through our mindset section, which teaches you how to not just think like a yield farmer, but how to think like an investor, because this is that one of the few industries where you actually want to go against your emotions, So we teach you that. The second section is the technical analysis section. So we teach you how to do fundamental analysis as well as technical analysis. Fundamental analysis helps you determine if an asset is worth purchasing. Technical analysis helps you master your entries and your exits, not just with, trading, like buying and selling, but also with yield farming. Like I was showing you guys on the chart, you got to know how to read candlesticks. You got to know how to identify high volatility zones, support, resistance, et cetera, et cetera. We go through security protocols so that you don't get hacked. Like, crypto is all about individual sovereignty, but that is a two-sided coin. You hear about people getting hacked multiple ways, whether if it's them clicking on the bad contract or, they fall for some kind of phishing email where they tell them like, oh, your ledger's been compromised. We need your keys so we can help you out. I've been in crypto since 2017. I've been rugged, but I've never been hacked. So this section makes sure you lower the percentages of getting hacked. So that's the soup and salad. The meat and potatoes. Well, we also have like a Web3 and DeFi fundamental section where we talk about how we think TradFi and DeFi are going to merge and what to look for. The meat and potatoes is our intro and advanced yield farming section. And it was filmed by me and our other coach, Float Locker. He has a YouTube channel as well, and he's been putting out a lot of content on yield farming. Basically, we show you every strategy that you could implement, not so that you can implement every strategy, but so that you can identify the one that resonates with your personality, your risk tolerance, and more importantly, your goals. So after you go through the course, you're going to get a one-on-one call with me or our other coach, Float Locker, after you have the terminology and you see all the strategies. We're going to hop on the call. We're going to physically help you get into pools, show you how to manage it. And then you get access to our calls that we do on a weekly basis, as well as our buy and sell calls. And just whenever the coaches or the community finds opportunities, we always notify all of our members. And sometimes, depending on the YouTube video, if it's like, really time sensitive or it's really like value sensitive, they're all value sensitive, but time sensitive and value sensitive, our paid members get access to our YouTube videos before we actually make them public.
Okay, I love this. And actually, I really love that you have like an assessment that you have people go through. Because, if you were after just making as much money as possible, getting as many people signed up as you possibly could, whether or not they were a good fit, you wouldn't do that. Okay, that's not a great marketing move to get as many people as possible. But the fact that you do it that way helps me know that, hey, you're looking to actually help people. You want to make sure they're a good fit. You want to kind of see where they're at so you can get them into the right spot. So I actually love it. As a marketer, I don't like that. But as a community leader, I really like that. It shows that you're not just trying to make money. So
yeah, we want to keep the community clean. And we have turned down people. So, they say the whole saying iron sharpens iron. We want to teach people how to identify opportunities so that everyone is bringing opportunities to the group.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in quoting scripture, you'll get on my good side every time quoting scripture. So I appreciate that. Even have Noah in your name. Multiple income streams would like to know, do you have money back guarantee for your program?
Like a refund, as what I'm assuming?
I think
No,
so. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
no, we do not. Because look, man, this is just me being honest. You can make deep money in DeFi 100%, 100%. But the amount you make and when you make it is totally dependent on your work ethic. Our course is fantastic. We've gotten a lot of feedback. Everyone loves it. We haven't had anyone who has asked for a refund, especially, after we hop on and we do the one-on-one calls. Like, we made a video on Pendle Finance back in November, when it was like 50 cents, and it went all the way up to $7. And our group, everyone has pretty much ROI'd on what they paid. Like, our goal, we kind of position ourselves as a financial school. The traditional school, you take out these loans, you graduate, and you get a job, and you're paying on them for the rest of your life. We like to position our program to where you go to school, but it's designed to help you pay off your tuition, aka sign-up fee, before it's time to renew.
Yep, love that. So yeah, and people happy in the community is about the best proof of concept that you can possibly have. So love that. Awesome. Well, hey, anything else that you want to share with us before I'm going to end with some calls to action for people? But any final words for us, Vince? Any inspiring words to finish off our Tuesday with?
I would just say, a lot of people are asking me like, oh, is it too late to learn crypto? Is it too late to learn DeFi? If you're watching this call, you're extremely early. Crypto is the smallest major asset class. It's less than 2% of the entire world's money in crypto. It's like investing into the S&P before the roaring 20s. People who invest into crypto now will get to ride the wave of it going from a $2 trillion market cap to a multi-trillion-dollar market cap, aside other major asset classes like gold, stocks, real estate, bonds, et cetera, et cetera. So I would just say, whether if it's from me, whether if it's from James, if you're trying to create, scripture says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Crypto, in my honest opinion, is the best opportunity to be able to do that. So if you're watching this, whether if it's for me or James, learn as much as you can, because your grandkids could really benefit. That's all I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if it's not something you're going to get into now, crypto is going to become bigger and more a part of our life going forward. And so I always try to use the word behooves in a video, but it behooves you to learn what you can, even if you're not planning on using it now. It's like, I don't have enough liquidity to actually get into some of these yield farming things right now. At some point you might have 10K sitting around, and okay, what should I do with this? Should I go put it in the stock market? Should I? Oh yeah, I remember Knowit Owlz. I can get into yield farming. And so I encourage you, investing in yourself and education is something you will never regret. So definitely would recommend that for everyone. So we will wrap up there. Some calls to action for you guys. First off, these are completely free. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Subscribe to Crypto Noah's channel. I put all these links in the description. I'll paste them here as well. Subscribe to his YouTube channel, subscribe to the Knowit Owlz YouTube channel. That's totally free. So even if you're like, you know what, I don't have any funds right now, I don't want to do anything, I don't want to spend any money, at the very least, go subscribe and help grow that. That'll get more eyes on it too. And then go check out Knowit Owlz. Read through it, kind of see if that'll be a good fit for you. Schedule the free consultation call. Again, you're not committing to anything. It's not super high sales or anything. They just want to get to know you, see if you'd be a good fit for their program. And then if it's mutually beneficial, then that's something that you could potentially move forward on. So those are your 3 CTAs right now. But I appreciate you guys in the audience. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you on YouTube. Appreciate you on Twitter. I think at max we had 600 people watching on Twitter. So appreciate you guys very much. And Crypto Noah, Vince, appreciate you coming on, man, sharing your expertise. This was very educational, inspiring for me to jump back into yield farming, especially like you said, with the bull market coming up, yield farming as liquidity and as volume goes up, there's going to be a lot of opportunities in yield farming to capitalize on that. So encourage you guys to check that out. So thanks for building this. Thanks for bringing it to my audience. And I'm sure we'll bring you back. I'm sure me and you will have more back and forth, and we'll be working together on more things going forward.
Definitely, man. I appreciate you bringing me on again. And just to let you guys know, anyone who does a consultation and decides to join through James's link is going to get 10% off.
Oh, amazing. Look at that. You get a discount for watching here today.
Yep.
So appreciate you guys. I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday. Whatever part of the world you're watching from, God bless you. Have a wonderful day, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.